And yeah, that probably was. I was where I was. La, 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 la. I was afraid that the echoey stuff would happen. But what I can do now is share. La, 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 la. I was afraid that the echoey stuff would happen. Okay, so I think I'm watching myself, and we're now. Okay, we're on live. What I can do now is share. La, 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 la. I was afraid. Okay, we're gonna come back because this is not. This is confusing me. So. I think I'm watching my so funny. Maybe we should just keep this. Hi, everybody. This is Connie and I. We are showing up unapologetic and just like trying to figure out this technical stuff. Welcome, Connie. Connie is one of my soul sisters. I thought I'd restart, but let's just start here because this is real life. We're gonna roll with it. So Connie is one of my soul sisters. She is also my colleague at Flourishing Life Coaching, where both of us are coaches and facilitators to certify people to become life coaches. You may have seen us dancing in the previous post, wearing our matching t-shirts, which we both got before we even met each other. Because Connie, I only met you last year?
Yeah, like a few months ago, actually.
Yeah. And when we got on a call, it was just incredible. It was like, whoa, how have I not known you before? And like, we have an amazing mutual friend, Blaise Hunter.
Yeah.
And that's actually her name, guys. I love her to bits and pieces. She's also another warrior goddess. And I'm meeting her in real life for the first time this weekend. Anyway, off topic. So, Connie, how you may have heard me describe her. She is like if Brene Brown and Twitch had a baby, you would get Connie. She was a pastor turned into a hip hop dance instructor. So we're like, hey, hey. So I started to like look at Connie's Instagram, and then I saw her t-shirt, You're Not For Everyone. I'm like, hey, I have the same one. Okay, we are totally like spirit animals. Like, she's my spirit sister. So I wanted to come on here with Connie today to speak about something deeply important, which is we're going to go with the theme of knowing that you're not for everyone. You know, we can know that, but how many of us struggle with it? How many of us are people pleasers? How many of us compromise or shrink some part of us so someone else can be comfortable? So many of us, right? I mean, I can speak to that myself personally in the past. I'm sure some people would not believe that, but yes. So Connie, why don't we start by having you share a little bit about you and your whole, I was going to say theme, but I would say vibe with bravery and belonging.
Oh, for sure. No, Roz, thanks for having me on your live. I just love you. When I feel like I can't be brave, you know, because we all have days. We all have days when we're like, I know who I am, but I don't know if I have the strength to go out there into my wilderness and be who I am. And so whenever I have those days, because I think we all do, I think of you. I think of you. I think, you know what? Roz is out there. She's being herself. She's bringing her own self to the world, and the world needs it. And you give me courage. And that's the power of knowing that you're not for everyone. And that's okay. It's finding other people who are living that and allowing them to feed your bravery. So if anybody needs any encouragement, you just keep following Roz, because she'll encourage you every day. She shows up in her cool warrior outfits, and I'm like, girl, like, yes, like it makes me rise up. You rising up helps me rise up, and courage begets courage. Here's the thing about courage and bravery is that you actually need other people to be brave. Because if it's just up to me, every morning to show up like I fully am, you know, like I said, there's days we don't want to do that. And there's such a dark side to belonging. Like we literally are wired for connection. Our brain circuitry needs to know that I belong. Like that is just a felt need, just like you need food, water, shelter. You need to know you belong. And so the problem with that message is that you're like, I'm not for everybody, but I actually want to be. And we have to lay down our need to be accepted by everyone and to know that I am called to a certain person. There's a certain person out there who needs my skill set, needs my personality. You know, you're the first person that's made me feel, Roz, like it's actually okay that I was a pastor. I was trying to hide that part of me for so many years. I'm like,
Really?
so what? Oh yeah,
I
because
had no
like,
idea.
well, because you know, some pastors really don't make that line of work very appealing to many people, and yet I'm a spiritual person and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual leader to people, and I don't want to just like coach people like, here's your top 3 ways to get out of anxiety, boom boom boom. There's a spiritual side to it, and I don't want to hide
Absolutely.
that. And
Yes.
you encouraging me in that, that's cool, Connie. That actually made me feel like, oh, that's cool. Okay, I can be that person. Some people need the fact that I'm
Connie, I had no
spiritual.
idea you were hiding that.
Oh, I
And
was,
I had no idea that
I
like
was,
that impacts I had just from being so like that is so cool. Because you know what we would probably think in terms of like a pastor or priest or religion or some sort of you know body of religion. It's like we get pigeonholed into a certain way of being, and so you didn't tell me that you were a pastor until like a little bit later in our conversation, I think, when you were telling me your story. And I'm just already feeling you're like, who is this? Like, we're like, oh my God, you're hilarious. You're very intuitive. I love everything we're talking about. And then you told me you were a pastor. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. That's amazing. And I'm like, I wish more pastors were like you. And then guess what? I've like discovered more and more friends who are pastors. And I'm just like, I would like it's like breaking out of the box and not being what is stereotyped.
yes.
And I
And
think that's what's really important.
yeah, the stereotype of whatever box we put ourselves in,
Whatever box. Yeah.
whatever, yeah, breaking out of that stereotype and coming into your own. Like, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
pastor who hip hops. That's just who I am. I'm a pastor who's
I
been fired from a church. Like, I got fired. Like, you know, that's who I am because I love
that's when
people.
I fell in love with Connie.
I'm a bit of a rebel, you
Pastor
know?
that got fired because she's so badass and she's a trailblazer. Like, hello, I'm resonating with that. Sister speaks for me. Look what shirt I have today on. Trust me, I'm a rebel.
Oh my gosh, I love that shirt.
I was gonna message you, be like, we should wear our shirts. And I love that you just broke out of the norm and just you really paved your own way. And I feel like that's what more of us are called up to at this higher level leadership. Is that like how boring is it if we were all the same? And I'm sure you've all heard this before, but how boring would that be? That would be so boring. Variety is a spice of life.
It really is. And I love how you call out the pioneers because there's many people who are hiding behind, well, that dark side of belonging. I want to belong so bad. So I'll show up however anyone wants me to, needs me to. And yet you call them out of the shadows, Roz. You call them and say, no, 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 you were meant to trailblaze. And
Mm-hmm.
I love Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, for all those trailblazers out there. And Jen Hatmaker makes such an incredible statement in that book. She talks about like the walk from the familiar out to the wilderness is a hard, lonely walk. But once you get out in the wilderness, there's Roz, there's Connie, there's a ton of others of us. And we're not languishing out there. We're flourishing, we're thriving, we're dancing, we're celebrating. And it's actually where all the creatives and the prophets and the people who are change agents, that's where we are. But the road out there to step out of the familiar, it's hard at first, but you know, again, all you got to do is step out, and here we are. And realize that many, and I just feel, Roz, that there's people even watching now and who will watch later. You're called to be a trailblazer. Stop trying to fit in. You're called to be a trailblazer. Stop trying to fit in. You just needed to hear that. Permission granted. There you go.
Just breathe that in as you heard what Connie shared. Just breathe that in. And there's so many of us who deep down inside, because we're not made to live a mediocre life. How many people are living on autopilot, unaware? And right now, especially right now, like this is very important. The times right now with what's happening right now in the world, with current affairs, with COVID, with vaccinations and the division, this is so critical that you are here to stand in your power. You're here to stand in your power and in your truth. There's multiple truths in a way where you were called up on a higher level as a leader. Whatever that looks like, it could be in your home. So many of us are feeling anxious, and that might be you included. And absolutely, with what's going on, like my heart is hurting. Our hearts are hurting. And this is really about community, like standing in your power, moving into community with people who want to fight for peace, fight for people to work together instead of divide, that like we are here and that we are human, and we're like I'm like we're eating, like there are people that are eating each other up, like just like fighting like animal instincts, and I'm just like, really, this is not necessary. So being part of the solution is doing the inner work and calling yourself higher, to a higher level. What can I do? So I feel like, but Connie, this is maybe a good place to invite people into being part of the solution, being part of calling themselves up. Here's a place where you can call yourself up at a higher level.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly the reason why you create the spaces you do online and in person, and why we do it with Flourishing. And, I was actually thinking about people who are just needing a boost of courage right now, and people who are wanting to step out and be that pioneer, but they need to know there's others, and they need to have tools, because you can't just wake up one day, okay, Roz and Connie ignited me, I'm going to do this. And then they get out there and instantly crushed because they don't have the right tools. And so we have
community.
Or a community. The community is huge. After 20 years, I realized that bravery actually happens when you feel safe in community. That's when it really shows up. And that mental health, the desire that we have to be mentally healthy, actually comes socially. It's a communal thing.
Yes.
And so we have this wonderful event coming up, Roz, like you're speaking at it, and we want to give people the tools to know how to step out, live their purpose, be who they are, be able to stand a little bit more firm in their feet with a foundation to say, I am not for everyone, and actually be okay with it. And so this is coming up real soon.
And this is a Flourishing Summit, and this comes like, why now, right? This is what we're putting out there right now to help you, help the collective, because there's so many things. I've actually been getting lots of private messages. Yesterday I did a talk on Aurora's Soul Summit, and it was incredible how many people afterwards reached out to me and just shared, like, I'm feeling lost right now. I feel like there's something more for me, and I feel like I'm being called up. I'm not clear what that is, and so here's a beautiful place where you can get clarity. There's going to be, and this is not just some boring, stuffy ass like event where people are going to just talk at you. Hell no, right? Like, no thanks. This is live. This is interactive. This is active. This is asking you, inviting you to be active with us. This is a process. And why now is because it is critical in this time where people are being divided more and more every day. People are feeling more and more anxious every day. People are feeling more and more lost every day. And I know we're speaking to the people here who are feeling like there's something more for me. I don't have to stay in this negative state. If you're questioning, as a parent, what can I do in my home to help my kids feel safer? Connie, did you want to add anything else?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like, I just feel like I read a book actually at the beginning of the year. It was called New Era. And it's basically this woman, she's very spiritual. And she said, we are living in a new era. Like whatever we've known before, consider it gone. Like, yeah, it'll always be there. It's kind of like the Industrial Revolution. And even my little 11-year-old said to me, Mom, I feel like we're living in an age where it's like we're in a new industrial revolution. I'm like, I think you're right, buddy. 100%. Like spiritually in every way, our culture's moving forward. And there's if it's a new era, we need a new mindset, and we need a rejuvenation of our spirit, and we need new tools, and we need new ways to move forward. And that includes family, that includes work, that includes purpose. And that's exactly, you said it right, bang on. Like, we are equipping people for a new era in this summit.
And I just got to download that. We're also speaking to those of you who have ideas and solutions, and you're holding yourself back because you're scared of backlash. You're scared of putting this solution out there and people thinking you're stupid or you're an idiot. And guess what? There are people going to think that anyway, right? It's like, that's okay because you're not for everybody. But what happens is, if you're feeling like there is something, you have some solutions and you're holding yourself back from sharing, being part of this event, the community here is going to be incredible, because you're going to start to see, as you bravely and share in this safe and sacred space of 3 days, that, hey, there's people here, my people here, who believe in this, who get me, who see the value in this idea. Yeah. And so who are here to build on the idea. Yes. Build on the ideas. I am blown away every day by my own clients. When I'm on sessions with them and I'm hearing about just I'm watching them and they're telling me their stories, and it's the creativity that comes through. I'm like, whoa, that's so brilliant. That is so brilliant. And they're like, you think so? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm not just saying that, I'm feeling it, and then I'll build on the ideas because it's so brilliant. And how many times are we telling ourselves, well, that's not enough. Somebody's gonna, people are gonna think I'm stupid. No, and we just shove it aside. So coming back to this place of, you're not for everybody, that if the dream is in you, it's for you. This is a place to get tools, to speak your truth, to share your ideas, to magnetize community, like-minded community, so you don't feel alone. Yeah. You feel more confident operating in the world, no matter what's being thrown at you. And Connie, you're one of the speakers. Please share with us what specifically your talk is and what you're going to be sharing with our audience.
Well, what's interesting is that I will be sharing this whole idea of you're not for everyone. Mm-hmm. How do you find your bravery, and how do you find your belonging? And what I've learned, I've been studying belonging for 20 years. I'm a belonging nerd, a resilience nerd. And I used to think that if we show up to community would define me. Community would call out my belonging. And I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe that, because when I know I belong, when I find my own inner belonging first, I walk out into that wilderness and I discover who I am. And that's my question in the conference. who are you? Do you know who you are? And oftentimes people go, well, how do you know who you are? I'm like, what is risen from the ashes of your life? That's who you are. And who you are without the pain is who you are. So maybe you were angry during that. Maybe there was trauma. Maybe there was deep wounds. Without the pain, whatever's risen from the ashes is who you are. So for me, it's interesting. We all have a story. I've been through hell on earth. Everybody else has a story of their hell on earth story. What has risen from the ashes of my life is bravery, perseverance, and compassion. And guess what? That's who I am. And now, because I know who I am, I show up to work, I show up to my family, and I show up to every relationship I have different. I am not expecting anyone to define me anymore. I am defined already, and I get to show up and lend my strength and have others like yourself lend strength to me. And I actually got this tattoo because one day I just got a revelation that I'm like, I belong. Oh my goodness. Like I just belong, and not for any reason other than I just do. And the heart points out, because I now, if I belong, that means that anyone can belong in my presence, even an enemy, even those who hate my message and send me horrible emails. I can still extend my hand of forgiveness and belonging because they no longer have the power to tell me whether I belong or not.
That is so powerful. Thank you so much, Connie. So if you're feeling called, you're loving this conversation, we're barely scratching the surface, then we would love to invite you to come into Flourishing Summit 2021. It is 3 days starting October 5th. 6th and 7th. Connie and I, along with our Abe, who is the founder, and I will be interviewing Abe next week. He is, the three of us are co-facilitating these live interactive group coaching calls so that you can bring whatever's on your heart and let's process it. Let's jam it out, and let's do that in a really safe and sacred community.
Yes. And so in order for them to get that, I just want to let everybody know there's general admission because we didn't want anyone to have any barriers. $97 for 3 days is like peanuts, plus lifetime access to the recordings. But that group session with us, that's a VIP experience. And I would really love for everyone to take advantage of that, because you investing in that, well, first of all, you get Roz. Like, I don't know, like that's it. Like that's all you need, right? Like, and just that experience of going a little bit deeper.
And I mean, to work with each of us, it's gonna be a little bit more than $97 for 3 days. I'll just tell you that much. So if you were to hire us privately, okay? So this is our way to contribute to you. Like Connie said, we don't want to have barriers here. This is really, truly something that we want for you to step into, for you to take this opportunity. You're a grown ass adult. You can figure out if you want to come and play or not. That's totally fine. We're not attached. And if you're feeling the call, even if a little bit, step in, lean in, come and join us. What have you got to lose? Nothing. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. But I don't know how nothing can change, right? So, all right, my loves. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, let us know. I'm going to drop the link in the bio. You can always PM either Connie or myself if you have questions. Thank you so much, Connie, for being here with me.
Thanks for having me, Roz.